everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, today is the day that we're going to pour the resin in the Department 56 Sleepy Halloween vignette. And so we're going to jump right into that. I want to get this started fairly early so it has time to cure for most of the day. And then perhaps this evening, I can start the detailing on the actual water itself after it's cured for maybe 12 or so hours. So with that, let me jump right in and kind of show you what I'm going to use and kind of show you the diorama or the vignette before we start the pour and sort of explain how I'm going to do this process. Okay, so this is what we've got, and this is the resin that I'm going to use. This is a Craft Smart clear casting resin. It's 16 ounces. I believe that will be enough. It comes in two parts, part A, which is the casting resin, and a part B, which is the hardener. I think I'm just gonna mix it all up. I've got some India ink here from the craft store, and this is in a Van Dyke brown. I want the water to be a little muddy, not a very swimmable stream, so to speak, more of a dirty kind of water that would be found out in the woods and things like that. Then I've got an old cup. I thought, 16 ounces is a cup, and obviously we've got red Solo cups, but I want a little extra on top of the cup to be able to use the stir sticks and not have it splash out if I'm mixing the whole batch. So I cut down one of our old Harkins cups from a couple of years ago. Obviously I got paper towels, and then I've got a torch, a lighter that I can go over the resin with to make sure that the bubbles, should there be any, and there will be after it's poured, actually come out of the resin. And then as we look at the diorama, it's all dry. The lake bed or the riverbed is set and ready. You can see the paint sort of coming through the bottom, some gravel there, the rocks. You've got the cattails now on the sides. And so it does not look too bad, really, especially when you look at this angle. And then then there'll be room for the waterfall. Haven't quite figured out how we're going to do that, but we will do that, rest assured. So that is the way the diorama is looking so far. The grass, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's really crunchy. It's not going anywhere. And that's exactly what we're looking for. So with that, let's start mixing the resin and get ready to pour. Okay, so now we're getting ready to mix, and I don't think I'm gonna need all of the resin. I don't wanna waste it. It is somewhat expensive, and I don't wanna pour more than I'm gonna use. So what I've done is created a little line down at the bottom, sort of in graduated, kind of even. No scientific measurements here. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this and try to pour till I've got about that much left in this cup. And actually, I may use just a regular Dixie cup now because it's a little bit smaller than that. So I've got part A, and I've already opened the top. It's got a seal on it, so I took that off beforehand. And so I'm going to just pour down to this line, and this is part A. So here we go. Part A is going in nice and slow. Okay. This stuff is pretty toxic to your hands, so that's why I'm wearing gloves. Let's see. Okay, so I've got a long ways to go here. So still pouring this in. A little ways to go. And that's pretty close. I don't know if you can see, but that's pretty close to that line. So I think I'm gonna call That one, actually it's settling down. I got a little bit more to pour. Maybe about like that. Try to get it as close as we can and then let that settle. Okay, that's clearly below the line, but it is coming back up because of the parts coming off the side. So that's pretty close. Okay, so now we're ready for part 2, or part B. Again, cap is off, and we're gonna pour this. This is a little thinner, so this should be easier to pour. This is the hardener, so this will go quicker. So we need to make sure that we're checking it regularly. And you can still see we've got quite a ways to go. Okay, so that is right about at that line, just a little bit more. Okay, let that settle down. Still need a little bit more here. Let that settle down. Trying to get as equal as I can after they've settled down. So let that settle down, let that settle down, and we'll see where we're at. Now, I'm gonna start mixing. It's gonna take 5 minutes to mix this. So obviously we're not gonna watch the whole thing doing that. Okay, I've been stirring for about 3 minutes now, so I'm gonna add some ink. Make sure this is shaken up. And I'm gonna go soft at first. I don't know really, I just kind of go 1, 2, 3. So 3 drops to begin with. And let's get this kind of mixed up in there. See what this looks like. So maybe 2 more drops. 1, 2. So that's 5 drops total. Okay, I'm gonna go 2 more drops. And that should be it. So that was 7 drops of India ink of the Van Dyke Brown. And I'm kind of measuring it onto the knife to see what it looks like. And I think that'll look pretty good. Okay, so I've got the mixture here. It's been stirred up very thoroughly for about 6 or 8 minutes. It does have bubbles in it. I don't know that you can see, but I'm just gonna start really slow and let it settle. I wish I had just a little bit more, but that does look pretty good. I may try to mix just a little bit more here. Okay, so now I'm going to burn some bubbles off. Okay, so pretty happy with the way that turned out. Unfortunately, I didn't mix quite enough. I should have just used the entire contents of the bottle, but I do have a little bit left over, maybe that much so in each bottle. I did mix up a little bit more and add it closer to the end of that last segment to kind of even out the area closest to the waterfall. I didn't want that to be the low end for sure. The problem is when you start carving the riverbed, if it's not perfectly level, and it never will be with the hot wire foam cutter, the tools, it's just it's kind of the luck of the draw, and so one end may be a little higher than the other. So I tried to even that out a little bit. I think it looks really good. The colors match really well. Stir that up for another 4 or 5 minutes and then added a little bit more to that, and it evened it out pretty good. It's pretty close to the top on either end, and it looks to the appropriate depth all along the length of the river. So incredibly pleased with the way that turned out. I do like the color. The first mix took about 7 drops of the Van Dyke Brown India ink into the resin and stir that up another 2 or 3 minutes. The color looks great. Obviously, proportion that out to the second pour with just a little bit of resin. So I used a couple of drops and then stirred that in, and it looks about the same. No difference once it mixes in there. And then obviously you take the torch and burn the bubbles out. I will continue to have to do that for probably the next 20 minutes as bubbles continue to rise to the top. That's not uncommon, that's pretty normal. So just make sure you have your torch, and every 15 or so, 10 minutes, go back and start burning those off. And so what I want to do now is I want to take you off of this tripod and kind of zoom you down the length of the river and let you take a look at it as it's starting to cure. And then we're going to take a piece of aluminum foil. I got a piece that I cut earlier to size of the river. And then once, another 15 or so minutes after I've burned additional bubbles off, and I think they're done coming to the top, then I'm going to cover the river up with that so dust and dog hair or what have you doesn't get into it and then ruin it. So that'll be covered up. It'll sit right where it's at, untouched, for the next probably 12 hours or so, and then let that harden and cure. The back of the box says that it will cure in 12 hours. Full strength cure is 72 hours. So in a 12-hour period, I should be able to go through and do the next part of the doctoring of the river, putting the waves and the motion into the river where it looks like it's moving, and get that started as well. Obviously, we'll do a tutorial on that. That'll be tutorial number 10 in this series, and that'll complete it. That should be it. So, hey, with that, let's take a zoom down the river and see what you think. Okay, so here is the way the river looks as you would approach it. Most of the bubbles are burned off. That will continue to have to happen for the next few minutes, but you can see that the river looks pretty good, and the depth is about right. So no issues there. Try to get it from a different light maybe. Not too bad. Okay, so that gives you a better look right down the river. It looks great. The color's great. I'm very happy with it. Just got to continue to burn those bubbles off, cover it up, and let it sit there and cure. So, hey, like always, if you've enjoyed this video and you've learned something, make sure you click the like button. And as always, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It certainly helps the channel to grow. And likewise, if you have friends or family that you think would enjoy these videos, please feel free to share them. That helps the channel to grow as well. Hey, until next time, we're coming at you here later this evening or tomorrow with tutorial number 10, which will be the final tutorial. And then we get to showcase this in the final video series, like all my other finished vignettes and villages. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting this one done and moving on to the next one. So with that, take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you again real soon.